Deep beneath our feet, in the silent tomb of the Earth's crust, lies a history we've barely begun to understand. Every layer of rock tells a story. Of oceans that once swallowed continents, of mountains that rose and fell like the breath of a sleeping giant. But between those layers, there are whispers. Whispers of something that shouldn't exist. Microscopic spheres of rare metals. Platinum, iridium, osmium, found scattered across the planet in sediments 65 million years old. To most, they're nothing. To scientists, they're a message, one written in the dust of time. When these tiny metallic spheres were first discovered, they puzzled researchers. Their composition, their distribution, their sheer abundance, all mirrored the debris left behind after modern nuclear detonations. But there were no humans then. No bombs, no reactors. Just dinosaurs, forests, and a sky untouched by smog or satellites. So who or what left them? For centuries, humanity has looked outward toward the stars, searching for signs of life. But perhaps the evidence we seek has always been beneath us, buried deep in the Earth's own skin. Perhaps the real question isn't, are we alone in the universe? But were we ever truly first? The forgotten signal in 2018, two NASA scientists published a paper that sent ripples through the scientific world. It was called the Silurian hypothesis, named after the ancient geological period, and a fictional reptilian species from Doctor Who. The paper asked a question that seemed absurd at first. If an industrial civilization had existed on Earth millions of years ago, would we be able to detect it today? Their answer, probably not. Humanity has existed as a technological species for only a few thousand years, a blink of an eye in geological time. Yet already our cities erode, our metals rust, our concrete turns to dust. In a million years, every skyscraper, every bridge, every car will be gone. Even plastic, our most stubborn invention, would break down, molecule by molecule, until only traces remained in sediments and ice cores. In 10 million years, the continents themselves would shift, burying the evidence forever. And in 65 million years, the age of those mysterious spheres, even our existence would be a myth written in atoms. So if another civilization had once risen and fallen long before us, what would remain of them? The same clues we now see, unexplained isotopes, chemical anomalies, fossil gaps. Perhaps they too discovered the power of the atom. Perhaps they too burned their world, the layers of forgetting. The Earth is a master of erasure. It doesn't destroy history violently, it swallows it slowly. Volcanoes recycle the crust. Rivers grind mountains to sand. Tectonic plates sink and melt into magma. In the grand cycle of the planet, everything, cities, bones, memories, becomes part of the Earth again. Even our modern world is fragile against this process. If humanity vanished tomorrow, within 100 years nature would reclaim every city. In 10,000 years, almost nothing would remain. In a million years, even our satellites in orbit would fall and burn in the atmosphere, leaving Earth pristine once more. This is why the idea of an ancient industrial civilization isn't just fantasy. It's terrifyingly plausible. Think about it. What if the last great extinction wasn't just caused by an asteroid? What if something or someone triggered it? The shadow in the rocks in the late 20th century. Scientists studying the boundary between the Cretaceous and Paleogene periods discovered a thin layer of clay enriched with iridium, a metal rare on Earth but common in asteroids. It marked the moment when the dinosaurs disappeared, but some geologists noticed something strange. Beneath that iridium layer were patterns of heat-fused quartz, soot, and spherical metallic particles, evidence of enormous energy beyond what a meteor alone should produce. To this day, the debate continues. Was it truly a rock from space, or something else? When we test modern nuclear sites, the residue, those same microspheres, look eerily identical. The Earth may not remember faces or names, but it remembers fire. Civilizations mirror look around you. The hum of machines, the glow of cities at night, the invisible network of data connecting billions of minds. We call this progress, but from the universe's perspective, it's just a flare, a momentary spark of intelligence before the dark returns. Every civilization, whether biological or cosmic, must face the same test. Can it survive its own power? On Earth, the signs of self-destruction are already visible. Rising carbon, collapsing ecosystems, spreading radiation, melting poles. The same signatures that future scientists, or alien archaeologists, might one day find and wonder, who were they? And maybe, somewhere beneath us, in the fossilized veins of ancient stone, another species once asked the same question. The silenced epoch. The fossil record is not continuous. It's a shattered story, full of missing chapters. Entire ages have vanished, erased by geological processes or cataclysmic events. Between these silent gaps, species appear suddenly, fully formed, with no clear ancestors. It's as if evolution itself rebooted. Some researchers call this punctuated equilibrium. Others whisper of forgotten epochs, times when intelligence rose, fell, and left only silence behind. What if humanity isn't the pinnacle of evolution, but just another cycle in an endless loop? The evidence we ignore. We find ancient mines, cut deep into rock, older than any human civilization. Spherical metallic objects embedded in coal seams millions of years old. Traces of synthetic compounds in ancient sediments. Most are dismissed as anomalies, geological oddities, natural formations. But sometimes, the pattern is too perfect to ignore. There are stories of quartz artifacts inside geodes, of metallic tools found in fossilized strata, of out-of-place relics buried deeper than the timeline allows. Most are unverified, yet they keep resurfacing, as if the Earth is trying to tell us something. What if every discovery we call impossible is simply a piece of a puzzle we've forgotten how to solve? The cycle of civilizations. If civilizations truly existed before us, they didn't fall in a single catastrophic event. They faded, one by one, swallowed by time. History, it seems, doesn't move in a straight line. It loops, again and again, like the heartbeat of the planet itself. Imagine a species rising from the dust. Intelligent, curious, driven. They learn to harness fire, shape metals, build machines. Their cities bloom across continents. They reach for the sky and maybe even the stars. But with every rise comes arrogance, and with arrogance, collapse. The Earth resets, patiently, silently. The traces of their greatness turn to minerals. The knowledge they held becomes myth. And the next civilization begins again, believing it was the first. Perhaps this is the true story of our planet. Not a single evolution, but an endless resurrection, echoes from the abyss under the frozen deserts of Antarctica. Scientists discovered a massive structure buried beneath 2 miles of ice. A perfect geometric anomaly nearly 30 kilometers wide. Radar scans show sharp angles and straight lines that nature rarely forms. To some, it's nothing, a trick of geology. To others, it's the last whisper of a forgotten age. In the sands of South Africa, miners have unearthed metallic spheres, perfectly balanced, with grooves carved around their circumference. They date back nearly 3 billion years. Officially, they are natural concretions. Unofficially, they are impossible. And deep in the Gulf of Cambay, off the coast of India, sonar scans revealed an underwater city, streets, walls, and stone structures now buried under silt. Carbon dating of artifacts suggests an age of 9,500 years, thousands older than the pyramids. Who built it? No one knows. The deeper we dig, the more the past seems to stare back. The silent architects. If such civilizations did exist, how advanced were they? Perhaps not like us, not digital, not silicon-based, but something entirely different. A technology born of biology, resonance, and energy we no longer understand. Maybe they shaped matter the way we shape code. Maybe their machines grew rather than were built. In myth, we find echoes of these architects. The Atlanteans who mastered energy crystals. The Lemurians who could speak across oceans with thought alone. The gods who fell from the sky, not divine, but descendants of forgotten humans. Myth may be memory wearing the mask of imagination. Signs in stone across the globe. Megalithic structures defy logic. Pyramids built with mathematical precision, aligned to the stars, to solstices, to cosmic constants. Blocks weighing hundreds of tons, carved so perfectly that even a modern laser struggles to replicate them. How could ancient humans, armed only with copper tools, achieve such perfection? Perhaps because they inherited techniques, not invented them. Knowledge passed down, distorted through the ages, from a civilization erased by time. The Sphinx of Giza shows erosion patterns from rainfall. Rainfall that last touched the Sahara over 10,000 years ago, which means it predates the pharaohs by millennia. Who then carved it? Every ancient monument whispers the same question. Who taught you how to do this? The memory in our blood. What if the memory of these civilizations isn't lost at all, but written into us? DNA is not just a biological code. It's a library, a hard drive older than any artifact. What if fragments of ancient knowledge survive inside us? Instincts, intuitions, sudden genius. The feeling of déjà vu, the sense that we've done all this before. Maybe that's why myths repeat. Floods, towers, gods, golden ages. The same stories on every continent. Not coincidence. Not imagination. Memory. Every human carries an echo of those who came before. Not in language, but in the very atoms of our being. The turning point now. In the 21st century, humanity stands at a familiar edge. We split atoms, edit genes, digitize consciousness. We create intelligence that may soon surpass our own. We are gods in the making, and children at play with fire. We have already begun to change the planet. Future geologists will find our fingerprints in every grain of soil. Microplastics, synthetic chemicals, radioactive layers. We are writing our own geological chapter, the Anthropocene. And one day, millions of years from now, when the next species digs through the ruins of our world, they might find our metallic dust, our glass, our bones turned to crystal. And they will ask, as we do now, who were they? The great filter, the Fermi paradox, asks, if intelligent life is common in the universe, where is everyone? Why haven't we heard them, seen them, or met them? Maybe the answer lies here, on Earth. Civilizations rise, expand, and vanish. Not because of war or invasion, but because of entropy. Power outpaces wisdom. Technology outgrows empathy. And nature, ever patient, resets the game. This is the great filter, the invisible threshold that every intelligent species faces. Pass it, and you become eternal. Fail, and you become fossil. Which path will we take? The awakening. Perhaps the purpose of discovering these hidden patterns, the metallic spheres, the ancient cities, the myths that echo across time, is not to prove others existed, but to remind us of what always happens when knowledge outpaces humility. Every civilization thinks it's unique. Every species believes it's chosen. But the Earth remembers otherwise. If intelligence has risen before, it can rise again, after us, beyond us. But we still have a choice. We can learn from the shadows beneath our feet, or become another layer of them. The fifth extinction. If the planet has seen countless rises and falls, then every age must end, and ours will too. But what ended theirs? What erased them so completely that even memory forgot? The Earth has suffered 5 great mass extinctions. Each one wiped out more than 70% of life, sometimes 90%. Each one left behind a silent radioactive signature, a scar in stone. Scientists speak of asteroids, volcanoes, shifting climates. But there's something haunting in the pattern. Every extinction coincides with an explosion of innovation, a sudden flourishing of life, followed by collapse. Growth, power, decay, over and over again. What if intelligence itself is the trigger? Fire from heaven. Imagine a species that learns to command the atom, or perhaps some other energy long forgotten. They unlock power beyond comprehension, enough to reshape continents. At first they use it to build, then to conquer, and finally to destroy. The evidence could be everywhere, but we'd never recognize it. After millions of years, glass turns to sand. Concrete becomes limestone. Radiation decays, leaving only faint isotopic echoes. All that remains are thin layers of soot and metal dust. The same signs we now see at the boundaries of ancient ages. When we test the layer marking the end of the Permian, period, the greatest extinction in history, we find strange chemical markers, enriched carbon, iridium, uranium, and melted quartz. It's as if the Earth was set on fire from within. Could a civilization millions of years before us have perished by its own hand? The first victims of a nuclear dawn. The memory of ash the oceans once boiled. Volcanoes choked the sky. Darkness reigned for centuries. Then silence. And when the light returned, life began again. But what if it wasn't random? What if evolution is guided not just by chance, but by memory? Each extinction resets the world, but something, some code, remains. Life always rebuilds faster than before. It remembers patterns. It climbs back toward complexity, toward awareness, as if consciousness itself refuses to die. Maybe that's the secret the Earth hides. We're not its first children. We're its latest experiment, the architects of ruin. Every civilization leaves behind something. Not always monuments or machines, sometimes just mistakes. We too are writing our legacy in poison and plastic. We scatter chemicals, forge alloys, and build digital ghosts. When future beings uncover our world, they will not find cities. They will find signals, microscopic, invisible, but undeniable. They will see how the carbon rose. They will trace the fallout of our wars. They will notice the sudden silence of countless species and realize that once a species named human tried to rule the earth. But the truth will not be that we vanished. It will be that we repeated what was always done before. Time's illusion time feels linear to us because we live too briefly to see its loops. But the earth doesn't forget, it reuses. Continents drift, collide, and merge. Oceans appear and vanish. What was once desert becomes sea. What was ocean becomes mountain. It's the same world, with new faces. If ancient civilizations existed, their ruins may not be gone, just folded, twisted, melted into new shapes. Perhaps that mountain range once was a city. Perhaps the veins of metal we mine are their buried machines. Perhaps the coal that fuels our engines is literally the fossilized remains of their forests. And their lives. We burn them to build ours. We are powered by ghosts, echoes in myth. Every culture speaks of fire from the sky, of floods that cleansed the world, of towers that reached the heavens and fell. Atlantis, Sumer, the Mahabharata, the Popol Vuh all describe the same cycle. Golden Age, hubris, fire, silence, rebirth. What if these are not stories? What if they're memories? The trauma of civilizations echoing across time. In ancient Sanskrit texts, there are descriptions of weapons of the gods that could burn cities in an instant, leaving skin and bone as ash. Modern readers call them myths, physicists call them eerily familiar. The awakening Earth. We often see ourselves as masters of the planet. But what if the planet itself is alive, aware, and simply waiting? Every few million years, it allows intelligence to bloom, to test itself, to see if it can live in balance with creation. And when that intelligence fails, the planet resets. Not out of cruelty, but necessity. To preserve life as a whole, the extinctions aren't punishments. They're cleansing breaths. Maybe Earth isn't our home, it's our teacher. The edge of the present now. We stand at the precipice. We can split the atom, yet cannot heal our own divisions. We can map galaxies, yet cannot control our own greed. We are more connected than ever, and more fragile than ever. History, or perhaps memory, warns us. Those who forget humility face silence. But what if this time could be different? What if the cycle could be broken? Perhaps the very act of remembering, of realizing that we may not be the first, is the key. Awareness could be evolution's final test. Maybe the Earth keeps repeating civilizations until one finally learns. The last question. What if everything we call history is just one chapter in a book that keeps rewriting itself? Civilizations rise, fall, and rise again, each convinced it is the first to open its eyes. Maybe that's the design. Maybe that's how the universe learns. Look at the night sky. Every star you see is a memory, ancient light still traveling long after its world has died. Perhaps Earth is no different. Maybe we, too, are just light, still traveling, from a story that ended long ago. The mirror of creation. For centuries, humans have searched for God, for meaning, for the spark behind creation. But what if that spark is consciousness itself, not divine but inevitable? Every world that forms, every species that evolves, eventually creates minds capable of asking why. And every time those minds appear, the universe learns something new about itself. You are the universe, looking back at its own reflection. Maybe that's why the same patterns return. From atoms to galaxies, from cells to civilizations. Everything spirals, everything echoes. Nothing truly begins or ends. It only transforms. The choice right now, humanity faces a moment that decides whether the cycle continues or breaks. We stand between extinction and evolution, between chaos and awareness. Every invention, every discovery, every mistake, it all leads to this single question. Can intelligence survive itself? If we can learn humility before power, empathy before control, and wonder before certainty, then maybe, just maybe, we become the first civilization to pass the test. Maybe the purpose of all those who came before was to prepare us, to show us what not to do. Their ashes are our warning, their silence, our second chance. The voice of the earth, sometimes late at night, When cities sleep and machines rest, you can hear the hum of the planet. A low, steady rhythm, like breathing. It's the sound of the earth thinking, remembering. Every storm, every earthquake, every heartbeat in every creature is part of the same living system. You are not on Earth, you are of Earth. When we burn its forests, we burn our lungs. When we poison its rivers, we poison our blood. And when we finally remember this, truly remember, the cycle will end, not with extinction, but with understanding. The legacy millions of years from now, the continents will shift again. Mountains will rise where cities once stood. Oceans will swallow our monuments. And somewhere, buried beneath the layers of time, there will be a thin line of strange elements. Plastics, alloys, isotopes, the fossilized signature of a civilization that once called itself human. If anyone or anything ever finds that line, may they see not only destruction, but also beauty. May they see that, for a brief moment, the universe became aware of itself and loved what it saw. The answers. What was the first civilization? Who came before us? Maybe it doesn't matter, because the question was never about them. It was always about us. Can we be the first to remember, the first to listen, the first to live without repeating the same mistake? That is the last question. And the answer is still being written by you.